Shabana Azmi is an actress with a mission. Having started her career in the early 70s, she quickly became one of the leading actresses of her generation. Among her peers and contemporaries, she has always been regarded as a serious and a very committed actress. Shabana, thank you for coming on the show. You began your career in the early 70s in parallel cinema, as opposed to commercial films. Could you tell us a little bit about that period in your life?
I don't think parallel cinema ever really became a challenge to mainstream cinema. I think it offered an alternative, and we must see it in that context. It has been able to provide that alternative, which I think is very important, particularly in a country like India, where you have about 1,000 films a year. And it would be such a pity if we had only one kind of cinema. So that being that, I think my whole career has been a very fortunate case of being at the right place in the right time. And when I came in, which was about 74, the art cinema, the parallel cinema, starting with Ankur, literally just started standing on its feet, because before that you saw films with that Satyajit Ray made, and it was more in the Bengali cinema and regional cinema. But in Hindi cinema, we were very fortunate with Ankur, because it won a lot of critical acclaim, it went to all the festivals, it got a lot of international coverage as well, and it did very well commercially. That was a very fortunate thing to happen.
You've been recently involved in a variety of political issues. Could you talk to us a little bit about what you're involved with?
See, I basically work for an organization called the Nivara Haq Suraksha Samiti, which fights for the rights of the slum dwellers to shelter. That is the apex body with which I work, and starting from that, there are a whole lot of issues that also we get involved with. Now, the problem of slums in Bombay is a very real and a very immediate one, because of the 90 lakhs of people who live in Bombay, 55 lakhs live in the slums. There is a feeling about the slum dwellers that they are the scum of the earth, and that the people in slums are largely pimps and prostitutes and work with illicit liquor and what have you. I think that perception needs to change, because actually, these people in the slums are people who form the working population of Bombay, and it is because they're working their backs off that the city is almost functioning smoothly, because they drive your buses, they bring your milk, they provide your vendors, your ayah who comes and cleans your toilet, the whole works. You know, apart from that, there are also people who are teachers and now living in the slums, etc., etc. I think A, the perception of the slum dweller being the scum of the earth needs to change. B, you have to recognize that these people come to Bombay or to any urban city in search of work. It is because the villagers do not have any work for them that they come and migrate towards the city. So unless you're going to be able to provide actual employment in the villages, people are definitely going to migrate to the cities in search of employment, and which is why you must deal with them as such, rather than just senselessly demolish them.
How much have you been influenced by your family background?
Well, I think almost entirely, but in a way that was very non-aggressive and non-pushy. There wasn't any kind of deliberate steering or molding, but it was by providing an atmosphere which was free, which allowed a lot of questions to be asked, and which included children, both my brother and I, in the whole process of how a family lives. And so as children, we were given responsibilities, and we were also included in most of the things that happened. So it was by this very natural kind of environment, which also allowed a lot of questioning, that I think all the values that I have today are quite almost completely molded by my father.
You've chosen a few songs for us. Could you tell us about the first one that you're going to talk about?
Let me see, which one should I start with? So many. Which one should I? Well, it doesn't necessarily mean in that order. Okay? So I would start with Waqt ne kiya kya hasi sitam, which is a song from Kagaz Ki Phool, and it's been written by my father, Kafi Azmi.
Why this particular one?
Many reasons. Waqt ne kiya for many reasons. Firstly, because of the simplicity of the lyrics, because of the simplicity of its music, which is very melodious but really simple, and the absolutely fascinating way in which the song has been picturized. So it's left an indelible print on my memory forever. I cannot think of Waqt Ne Kiya without always conjuring up in my mind the way that the song was picturized in the movie, which was outstanding.
What's the position of women within the film industry?
Firstly, there has been some kind of a change. For instance, in Meena ji's time and Nutan ji's time, the films, although they revolved around women, placed them really in stereotypical molds. And the title suggested the kind of films they were in. For instance, Main Chup Rahungi was considered a virtue. And that has changed now. And so we have women sort of now deciding to wear the pants and say, all right, I'm not going to take it lying down. So you have the Zakhmi Aurat and you have the Sherni. But let's look beyond what it gives you at first hand, and you realize that it's really just a cosmetic change in appearance. So first you had a lot of Rambos, and now you have little Rambolinas, and all of them have got these little guns, and they're doing exactly, they're falling into the same stereotypical things that the men were falling into, and there's no real in-depth analysis into what a woman is. But at least there has been some change.
Women's roles are often stereotyped. How do you choose your roles? Is it something that you have to believe in?
Over the years, it's changed. In the beginning, I must say that I've done a lot of films which I wouldn't do now, but I did because they were, central parts for women, etc. And I was very excited about the fact that a film revolved around me. Now I'm far more careful about it, and I wouldn't. If I were to play, for instance, a helpless woman, I would do it either if through the course of the film, the helpless woman learned to stand on her own feet. She needn't necessarily become a winner because that's fantasy, but at least if the process has started in her, that I would do. Or if I portrayed a woman in a very helpless situation, then I would do it in a film where such a sense of outrage was created in the viewer by seeing that and feeling that this must change. Then I would do it, but I wouldn't do it if I believed that a film is trying to say that women deserve to be in the second place and shouldn't be given equal opportunity.
And the next song that you've chosen for us, tell us why you've chosen this particular piece.
It's a delightful song that Raj Kapoor has sung in a film called Anadi, and it is Kisi ki muskurahaton pe ho nisar. बहुत अच्छा गाना है, मुझे बहुत पसंद है. Firstly, Raj Kapoor has this uncanny ability to really translate the words into actual meaning. He doesn't just lip sync, but रिश्ता दिल का दिल से एतबार का जब वो गाते हैं, you understand every single word that he means, not merely by illustrating, but actually understanding and then giving it. And there's a sheer celebration of life in it, which I like very much.
किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है. किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है. माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं. माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं. मिटे जो प्यार के लिए वो जिंदगी, जले बहार के लिए वो जिंदगी, किसी को हो ना हो हमें तो एतबार, जीना इसी का नाम है. रिश्ता दिल से दिल के एतबार का, जिंदा है हम ही से नाम प्यार का. रिश्ता दिल से दिल के एतबार का, जिंदा है हम ही से नाम प्यार का. के मर के भी किसी को याद आएंगे, किसी के आंसुओं में मुस्कुराएंगे, कहेगा फूल हर कली से बार बार, जीना इसी का नाम है. किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है.
What takes preference in your life, your career or your politics?
Career as meaning in films?
Yes.
You know, there's no clear demarcation left anymore. As a person now, I've been in the films for 17 years now, and I am actively involved in a lot of issues, and I am now also doing films that say what I want to say, rather than just be in a film, you know. So in that sense, I'm working in far less films. I'm also being offered a lot less films because in Indian cinema particularly, you know, after about 30, they sort of start, the roles start becoming less and less and not extremely exciting. I'm not very interested in merely repeating what I have already done. And, but what spurs me on and what keeps me going today is my involvement in politics. I would, although, never want to stop being an actress, because I think being an actress, apart from giving me pleasure, also gives me a voice, and I don't want to let that go. And I hope to continue to be able to do my job well.
If we can finally talk about the last song you've chosen for us, why you've chosen it and why it's particularly so special to you.
Yaad Kiya Dil Ne Kaha Ho Tum from Patita. It is a duet. It's interesting because there was some school friends of mine with whom I started singing this song. और कभी देखी नहीं थी film, but I remember we used to go on school trips to Mathiran and we used to sing this song, and I sing it to this day with this friend of mine. And it was only recently that I saw it on television, and I was so surprised to see. Firstly, it's got Usha Kiran in it. That's my sister-in-law's mother, and she with Devanand, who I like very much. And it was amazing because every time we'd sung this song, we had always imagined that the male and the female would be miles apart from each other and then yearning. And suddenly you find, much to your delight and surprise, that they are literally standing cheek to cheek with each other and singing the song Yaad Kiya Dil Ne Kaha Ho Tum. It's delightful because it's not what I expected all these years that I've been singing the song, but it continues to remain a favorite.
याद किया दिल ने कहाँ हो तुम, झूमती बहार है कहाँ हो तुम,
प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम, प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम,
याद किया दिल ने कहाँ हो तुम, झूमती बहार है कहाँ हो तुम,
प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम, प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम।
खो रहे हो आज किस ख्याल में,
दिल फंसा है बेकसी के जाल में,
खो रहे हो आज किस ख्याल में,
दिल फंसा है बेकसी के जाल में, मतलबी जहाँ मेहरबा हो तुम,
याद किया दिल ने कहाँ हो तुम,
प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम, प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम।
रात ढल चुकी है सुबह हो गई,
मैं तुम्हारी याद लेके खो गई,
रात ढल चुकी है सुबह हो गई,
मैं तुम्हारी याद लेके खो गई, अब तो मेरी दास्तां हो तुम,
याद किया दिल ने कहाँ हो तुम,
प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम, प्यार से पुकार लो जहाँ हो तुम।
तुम हमारी जिंदगी के बाद बाग हो।
तुम हमारी राह के चराग हो।
तुम हमारी जिंदगी के बाग हो।
तुम हमारी राह के चराग हो। मेरे लिए आसमां हो तुम।
याद किया दिल ने कहा हो तुम।
प्यार से पुकार लो जहां हो तुम। प्यार से पुकार लो जहां हो तुम।
याद किया दिल ने कहा हो तुम। झूमती बहार है कहाँ हो तुम।
प्यार से पुकार लो जहां हो तुम। प्यार से पुकार लो जहां हो तुम।
Was there ever a role model that you looked up to, somebody you admired, either within or outside the film industry?
Role model as an actor, as an actress, or what?
As in influencing what you are today yourself?
I think I've said it before. I think it's my father, really. I don't know consciously when. It's only now when I analyze it, I can see the precise moments at which these influences did work on me. But it was my father and my mother. In very many ways, it was my school, Queen Mary's. Then it was the whole film institute bit and so many things, you know, but role model basically my father. Because I learned from my father that merely good intentions are not enough, that it is extremely necessary to convert those intentions into action. And to this day, when my father gets involved, for instance, against communalism, he's been doing a lot of work. He's actually out there on the streets fighting and not denouncing communalism in five-star hotels.
Shabana, I wish you all the best for all your future projects, and thank you for talking with us today.
Thank you very much.
किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है। किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है। माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं। माना अपनी जेब से फकीर है, फिर भी यारो दिल के हम अमीर हैं। मिटे